Our season is over. We're 3 years into this thing now, and I'm not getting impatient, but I recognize now that Tatum's in his third season, Aaron Gordon's 4 or 5 years into his career at this point. I think he's actually 6 years in or something. Marvin Bagley's about to enter his second season. I think we have the luxury now of being a little more aggressive with a move, because I think our young guys are ready to take the next step for us. Why the hell did the Bucks beat the Cavs? I guess the torch was officially passed from LeBron to Giannis, and then it doesn't matter because the Warriors ruin everybody's fun once again. But let's talk about those young guys a little bit as well. Jason Tatum, I think at this point, I want to use him mainly as an off-ball player. I mean, he can dribble, no doubt, but given his size, finishing ability, as well as shooting, he's an awesome cutter, and he's great just moving across screens to get open for a jumper, whether it be from mid-range or from three. And that's just kind of the role I want him to have. I think he fits in really well with getting the ball to Aaron Gordon or Marvin Bagley in the low post and then him cutting to the rim. And he can create his own shot as well, but I do think his ball handling is cool enough because I actually want to develop more of his post game as well as his defense at this point so he can help us win overall. And I think that's just the destiny for Tatum, is going to be he can finish, he can shoot from everywhere, he can post up, and he's going to be a good enough ball handler. Of course, he will still have moments like this where he can be able to beat a guy in transition or one-on-one or whatever. If we talk about Marvin Bagley, who I think is going to become our best player maybe next year, honestly, his second season. The dude is kind of like Anthony Davis at this point in that he can do a whole lot of things in terms of cutting to the rim, mainly through pick and rolls. The mid-range jumper was already good day one. The post game is pretty decent right now. I don't know where his post game is going to go, but it's still good right now. And then, of course, he's an awesome defensive player. The three-point shooting, I think, is something I want to work with Bagley on a lot. Because, Aaron Gordon cutting to the rim and then Bagley open, that could be awesome. So I just picture him being a great two-way player. And then Aaron Gordon, he's kind of like the heart of this team. I feel like he gives us the ability of just getting weird. We played him at center sometimes this season. We have him rolling to the rim all the time. If he grabs a rebound, then he can be the one bringing it up himself. Also, let me talk about just playing games. I think maybe once or twice a playoff series I'll play a full game because I feel like it's kind of cool to see the entire team and not just the starting lineup in the last 5 minutes. So we could try that moving forward for a couple games, but we will still do the fourth quarter highlight sort of deals. Now we got to talk about Elfrid Payton, and you've heard me say in the intro about trades. I like Elfrid Payton a lot, and I do want to keep him on the team because he does a hell of a lot of things for us. Defensively, he's just good. He's not a lockdown defender at point guard, but he's pretty decent. He can defend point guards as well as shooting guards. And he's just a good playmaker, and he is okay enough when it comes to finishing at the rim and opportunities that it comes up. But when we're talking about some of the weaknesses he provides for us, it's mainly this. And given that we already have a power forward who can't shoot, if we have a point guard who can't shoot as well, our spacing can get really bogged down. So the topic of a trade for this video is going to be centered around the point guard position. But I don't think Elfrid Payton would actually be a guy potentially getting moved. Notice the Charlotte Hornets with the second pick. We're coming back to Kemba Walker. I've mentioned him multiple times in this series, but I think this time it's a little more realistic. Now, he is 30 years old. That could be a concern. He did just have a fantastic season for the Hornets, and his contract is really not that bad, given, 18, 19 million a season. I think that's kind of fair. There is some fear of a decline, but what I was going to say is, when I wanted to trade for him 2 years ago, I don't think it made as much sense because we didn't have the young guys in place who you believe could elevate themselves to a point where they can lead us to a championship. But now with Bagley here, I think it's a little more okay for us to go for a guy like a Kemba Walker, because he can be a guy who can improve our offense Our defense shouldn't suffer too much because Bagley's getting better and Elfrid Payton would be the backup point guard. And this makes sense for Charlotte because they're not good. They haven't been good for a few seasons now. And Luka Doncic is the guy for them, so we give them some young assets. He just went through Boban, so I don't know what that means, but I feel like I have to mention it. If we give them some young assets, then I think it's a move that makes sense for them. Now, what exactly are those young assets? Well, we have all of our first-round picks moving forward. We also have Jordan Brown, who we drafted from, I believe he was the Mario Hezonja pick. He's pretty good. He's athletic. He's kind of similar to like Aaron Gordon or Blake Griffin. Not as good, of course, but we don't really have room for him. The other one's Trayvon Duval. Once again, I mean, if you just look at those shooting things, is he ever going to be that big of a scorer for us? I feel like re-signing him and then having it be Trayvon Duval, Jordan Brown, a first-round pick, I think that's fair for Kemba Walker. But again, the age of Kemba can be a thing, but I think we're at a point now where it's like our star players are established, and giving away a guy like Trayvon Duval is not as bad because we already have the young dudes. I was also looking at Avery Bradley for the shooting guard position. Notice how he's coming off the bench for the Celtics behind Malik Monk. That's weird. Also, the Celtics suck because 2K doesn't like them to be good. Bradley was awesome as an efficient player this season, and defensively, of course, he is what he is. The only reason I would consider this is just because Josh Richardson at the shooting guard position for us this previous season, he was up and down, you know? His shooting, sometimes it was there, sometimes it wasn't there. Hopefully Bradley could just be more consistent of an outside shooter, and he's also just a better defensive player than Richardson is as well. And given that the Celtics are not good, on top of him now being pushed to the bench, I think it's a fair move for both teams. Now, of course, we wouldn't give the Celtics as much as we would give the Hornets for Kemba Walker. That's something to think about. But there's one other player, Damian Lillard, which is typically a guy I would not trade for because that's usually a little too crazy for me, trying to keep it realistic. The Blazers suck. They won 33 games. They won 45 the year before. They're just lying in mediocrity right now. Lillard is a year younger than Kemba Walker, and I mean, his offensive season was about as good as you can ask for. And then if you look at his contract, he's only got 1 year, so this is the ideal situation for Portland to trade him. You know, a team that's not that good. It would make all the sense in the world now to move the guy. But then also, here's this for you. He's curious what he's worth on the open market, which says to me he might already have 1 foot out the door. Now, it also says he's extremely loyal, so who the hell knows. But this is a move we could consider. Now, I feel like just because of who Lillard is and what he means to the Trailblazers, we might have to wait and see if the Blazers are actually good first, which means we'd have to go into the season. And, I mean, I don't know. Are we willing to make that sort of a choice to wait? It's something to think about. Mike Conley's also a free agent. We could go that route. It's just, you know, he's about to be 33 years old, and he's just not as good as those guys are. I also don't know what the hell I'm actually going to have to pay the guy. I don't know. But I'm trying to make a move. We're trying to take this young team, who might not even be that young anymore, to the next level.